Everyone, welcome to Stars and Pearls. I'm Karleen Loves. Happy to find you here. Our intuition series or being sensitive series for highly sensitive people like you probably that are watching this. This video, we're focusing in on the differences between instinct, intuition, and insight. Now, these are also three levels of informational acquisition that work and operate outside of our intellect. They work above, below, and beyond the intellect. So the intellect, let's say, is that part of your mind and that operates within the day to day, that thinks of solid solutions and comes up with logical sequences. So the instinct, intuition, and insight operates outside of this logical sequencing of the mind and comes from a deeper level of being that we don't consciously have access to. Some parts of it come out of the subconscious, but other parts of it, right? So let's have a look at each of these and differentiate a little bit better, because it's also important to know where you're getting your information from, where you're getting this instinct from to run, and it's not an intuition to do something. So it's really important that we understand where the information is coming from so that we can also gain further clarity on the information that we are receiving. So let's say that let's give a different tag word as well to these words: instinct, intuition, and insight. Let's say that instinct has to do with reactiveness and reactions and reacting to a stimuli. Something happened and I react to it. Intuition would be the feeling. I get a feeling about something. I get an intuitive insight. Insight is a knowing, a sensing, a knowing about it. Okay. So let's see. In the book, Seeing What Others Don't, Dr. Gary Klein differentiates between intuition and insight, and he states that intuitions draw from existing patterns. Insights generate new patterns. So, following that line of thinking, we can say that instinct draws on past experiences, right? Past experiences that are encoded in our DNA. So, instinct would draw from the body on past experiences that we may not even have had, because babies come into the world with instinct. You flutter a feather in front of their eyelashes and they'll instinctually close their eyes, for example, right? You knock their knees and they'll instinctually bend their leg, or things like that, right? So these instincts are based on genetic patterns, physical patterns that we literally, it moves too fast for us to control. It moves past our emotional patterns as well. And it's not really connected to emotions, beliefs, or spiritual guidance. Okay. So instinct is really coming out of the body and ensures our survival and procreation. It's also connected to our brainstem, our hypothalamus, our limbic system, or generally speaking, the reptilian brain, right? Which operates, which takes over in during times of high stress to get us into a place of safety. Intuition, however, it draws on different patterns. It draws from existing patterns in the now that we have taught ourselves, that we have acquired through learning in life. And for some of us, a little bit more than that, but for the vast majority of us, it draws from what we've already learned in this life and experience, and is connected to the right hemisphere, amygdala, but also our gut brain. And intuition tends to reach forward in time. Instinct goes backward or falls backward in time. And so we utilize intuition and instinct to kind of keep ourselves in the middle. Okay. So instinct is falling back on these old patterns, these old insights. If you touch the fire, you're going to get burnt. So when you feel that heat, you instinctually draw your hand back. It happens without you even consciously thinking about it or controlling it. Whereas intuition might say, oh, there's a light. It looks like, it feels like I could get burnt there. Okay. So insight, however, contrary to instinct and intuition, insight creates new patterns. So when we're thinking about that, we can say that we dealing with the patterns and frequencies of the world, we can either work with inherited and old patterns and go off of reactiveness and instinctual reactions. Through experience, learn to recognize and work with other or new patterns, which would be intuitive recognitions, intuitive feelings, using our intuition, or we create new patterns entirely, I believe, due to deep mind pattern recognition. So a lot of times we think that our subconscious mind, because it's not in the realm of our immediate awareness, we have this belief that it's not doing anything. It's not working. It's not doing anything. It's just hanging out there being subconscious. But our subconscious mind is the largest part of our mind system. Okay. And that part is continuously working, is continuously doing its mind thing just outside of your day-to-day awareness. There's so many processes going on in your subconscious mind to navigate you, to bring you through reality, to form the experience that you're walking through, that most of these processes are running subconsciously and they don't need to be in your day-to-day awareness. But your subconscious is creating all kinds of things, your feelings of right and wrong, which tie into your cultural conditioning as well, and your feelings of what is acceptable, what isn't, and so on and so forth. These are all automatisms almost for a lot of people. It's not something where you have to sit there and think about too long. You have an intuition or an instinct, and you feel comfortable within that, right? So I believe that when the subconscious mind occasionally sees the entire pattern for what it is, from beginning to end and all its limitations, but also all its possibilities, that's when the flash of insight can happen or occur, where you actually transcend the pattern. And through that, you're creating a new pattern on top of that because you have that insight, you have that realization. You go, oh, and it all falls down, breaks down, and you're already in the new pattern and operating from that. So what this also means that the reliability of your intuition depends on the quality of the patterns that you have access to. So that means if you have for example, let's say that you are a doctor, okay? And you've just finished med school and you're going on you're seeing patients or whatever. Your intuition is not going to be as developed as someone who's going to be 40 years a doctor, working with the same type of illnesses predominantly. They gain an intuition that this is what I'm looking at. This is what this is. And they actually then more look to confirm that intuition than really look to disprove it, right? So, but that intuition develops over time based on the quality of the patterns or experiences that and information that you've been exposed to. So this is why, especially when you're doing psychic work, mediumship work, things of that, you want to expose yourself to as much as possible. You want to travel, you want to read, you want to talk to people, you want to be connecting with people, you want to be open, you want to have as much information in those libraries in your subconscious mind as you can in order to have a broader language for your intuition to work through and to connect with and speak with to you. Okay. So another thing about intuition, instinct, and insight is that instinct is the one that takes over when you're under stress. If you're under stress, it's unlikely, it does happen, but it's unlikely that you're accessing your intuition, okay, or your insight, because intuition comes to you. It's not something that you go to. It comes to you. You can access it in the sense of you can ask questions. I wonder what if you can open yourself up playfully and just play with ideas, play with concepts. The hallmark of an intelligent mind is what, you guys? Yes, being able to play with concepts and ideas that are not your own. Quote. And The you can trigger that intuition to come to you by asking questions, continuously asking questions, and the answers will arise. So I wonder what if, hmm, if this happens, would this happen? Whatever, however you want to phrase those questions, keep it in a way that allows it to be open-ended, where you really don't know the answer, so that intuitively something can come to you. So intuition appears when you're more relaxed and in that wondering state of mind, whereas instinct takes over. Intuition doesn't take you over. It just informs you, and it doesn't even trigger you too much. Intuition is very neutral, it's very calm. It's just like an aha. That tree is going to fall any second now. And the tree falls and you're like, okay, that happened, right? But instinct is there to trigger you to change something for your survival. So it's going to trigger any kind of emotion that gets you to change your position, your place, your remember, emotions are energy in motion, right? So these emotions that you're feeling, such as anger and all these things, these are messages for yourself. They're not meant to be put on anybody else. They're meant to change you. That's why you got the message. That's why you're feeling them. Okay. So instinct will trigger these fear, anger, you name it, in order to get you to move in to a place of safety so that you can survive. Intuition is not going to do that. Intuition is just going to give you information so that you know how to navigate what's coming next, where to step to next. Okay. Again, insight though creates new patterns. So, um, instinct is also fixed and non-adaptable, right? So every time I come with a flame next to your eye, you are going to blink, right? There's no other way that instinct is going to react, because it's mainly based on your physicality, physical survival. Now, this instinct can be triggered, for example, if you think and if you feel that you are in a position of being under immense threat or harm, then that can trigger instinctual responses as well. Again, via triggering your anger, triggering your fear response. So let's say that you are in a really toxic relationship, you're married, and you're afraid of your partner. Okay, there's some kind of an instinctual fear of your partner. And now you guys get into an argument. That fear, because your instincts have been triggered, is going to get ramped up. Your fear is up, your anger is up, and that means for you to remove yourself out of this toxic situation. It doesn't mean to get into the argument with this person and throw everything at them that you can. Those feelings are messages for you. This is not a safe environment for you. This is a safe environment for me, sorry. You need to move yourself out of it. And if you listen to that, then your body will calm down and you will come into a clearer way of thinking. So, of course, when you get into these heavy arguments, it's often best to say, like, oof, I can't think right now. Let's calm down, and revisit this topic from a much calmer state, right? So it's really imperative that you learn how to manage your emotions by understanding the messaging that they're giving to you. And this will help you as well to understand the messages that you receive from other people, from other, all of that, from other spirits and so on. So intuition is not going to trigger anything, because intuition is just there to give you information and then you make the decision based on your intuition what you're going to do. So, for example, you're walking down the street and you just intuit that around the corner is a store that is selling the bag that you've been looking for. So you can either choose to follow that intuition and say, okay, I wonder what's around the corner. I'm going to go take a look and see if the store is really there. Or you can choose to go the other way. Either way, it doesn't evoke as strong an emotional response. It's not going into your survival brain. So when people say I had this compelling intuition and I couldn't do anything but do this, Mm, you want to rethink that because it may be a trigger into your instinct, which is also showing coping mechanisms. Because again, coping mechanisms are there to protect you. And so you really want to learn to differentiate between what's an intuition, what's an instinct, and then understand where the message is coming from. Remember that the message is for you, and then you can base your decision based on what the messaging is. So if you're hyperventilating, you're feeling really angry and hot-headed and you can't think straight, get out, move out of that situation until you calm down again. Okay. So intuition, though, can nudge you to make irrational decisions that don't make sense to you in the moment. Like, there's a store selling the bag that you want just around the corner. Please, just go here. But there's never been a store. Your rational brain will say, well, one just might have opened up. Again, it's your choice. You can go look at it, or you can choose to believe what your brain is saying. But in the long run, the more you listen to your intuition, the better it gets. The better it gets, the more you trust it, the sharper it gets, the quicker it gets, the more accurate it gets. And it really begins to guide your life in a direction which initially may lead you through the hell that you don't want to go through, but you have to go through for your own growth. So it's not necessarily, intuition's not there to make you happy, okay? It's there to guide your soul through this life experience that you're leading and through the experiences that you need to have in order to evolve and elevate your soul. So that means that some of the experiences that your intuition might guide you to are not going to be pleasant and are not going to be easy, right? But as long as you trust it and you know that what you're experiencing or where you were brought to is bringing you into a higher level experience of your life and the expression of yourself, you're good. Okay. You have to trust that this is going to get you to a better place because that's what it's there for, is to, again, and that better place may not be, right? Living the Disney World life. It may not be that, but it's going to be something that is absolutely soul growing, elevating, expanding. And that's what your soul is here in this life for. So you will fulfill your life's mission. So instead of seeing it as a disruptor in your life, these intuitive influences, some of you may see that because you don't trust your intuition anymore because it led you into some what you feel are traps or negative situations. And I had a gut feeling and I followed it and this evil happened. But what did it teach you? Right? Or what was an open door that opened up for you as a result of that experience? Where did it get you? How did you mature? How did you grow? How did you evolve? So don't see it as a disruptor. See it as your helper and protector, actually, because it might have saved you from something worse, assisting you in achieving your goals beyond your rational understanding. So, in a nutshell, we can say that instinct helps us to evolve, procreate, survive. Intuition helps us navigate the world around us and especially the future and what direction to move in. And insight helps us hack this whole thing and break down structures that we no longer need, or ways of thinking, methods of thinking that are no longer conducive to us, that we can release and let go and move into something more fulfilling. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.